This is one of the roads less traveled on the path to higher education, and that's because it's had to be.
In this country, we have been in bondage longer than we have been free.
Southern University, like the other 100 historically black colleges and universities in the U.S., was born out of necessity. HBCUs like this one were created to serve the African American community.
And these institutions across America were built to teach the freed children of slaves.
From the time that they were founded, HBCUs were dedicated to helping these students succeed.
Combined, HBCUs have more than 1 million students enrolled. But in an integrated educational system, what place do they have?
Other institutions don't have to justify their existence in the same way on a day-to-day basis that HBCUs have to.
We should be in a position that everyone immediately sees our benefit and not ask us why.
Hey fam, I'm Imaeyen, this is AJ Plus, and this Sunday we've traveled to an HBCU to talk about their history, their relevancy, and what's next for these educational institutions. Today, I'm in the middle of the more than 6,000 students on Southern University's campus in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the vast majority of them are black. It's a scene that used to be unimaginable because access to higher education was virtually non-existent for black people in the U.S. before historically black colleges and universities, also known as HBCUs. Congress officially defines an HBCU as a school established before 1964 whose principal mission was and is the education of black Americans. And unlike what Education Secretary Betsy DeVos has said, these schools didn't start as pioneers for school choice. Let's be clear, there was no choice. HBCUs became prevalent after the Civil War, and they were dedicated to meeting the needs of the newly freed African American population. Southern University was one of those schools, and the nation's first black governor, P.B.S. Pinchback, founded it in 1880. Like the majority of HBCUs, Southern University is located in the southeastern United States. Why is this your favorite spot on campus?
It's so peaceful. Like, look at the waters. The waters are so calm and so beautiful.
It wasn't the location that drew 18-year-old Nakira Dixon to choose this HBCU.
I feel like I'm here and I fit in here. It doesn't make me feel so alone while I'm here.
Dixon was a star student in her high school. She had the highest SAT score in her class, and she ranked number 7. She already had financial aid packages from 2 schools and was looking at attending the predominantly white University of Alabama. But her plans changed after she visited its campus. An HBCU and Southern University was not your first choice. What was your first choice?
My first choice was the University of Alabama.
And why aren't you at the University of Alabama? Why aren't we there having this conversation?
When I actually went there on the campus, I felt nothing. When I actually visited Southern's campus, it was like, this could be not just my school, but this is my home. And that was the determining factor.
For Nakira, choosing an HBCU meant surrounding herself with what she defines as black excellence.
When you're at an HBCU and it's full of black excellence and it's black pride and everything else, it's almost like you're not just one person who's done it, it's a group of people who are doing it.
And this atmosphere is what Nakira was talking about. And research shows it has a very real impact on students. Some call it the HBCU effect. Black HBCU graduates are twice as likely to be satisfied in their work, have greater community involvement, and they even vote more frequently, according to Brian Bridges of the United Negro College Fund.
HBCUs provide support to the students who need it the most, even though they have the least amount of resources to help those students succeed.
The vast majority of HBCU enrollees are low-income students, and at some schools they make up nearly the entire student body. Bridges says that these schools are the largest provider of scholarships to minority students. In 2014, 70% of all HBCU undergraduates receive financially need-based Pell Grants, and the price tag for HBCUs are 27% lower than their non-HBCU counterparts. And yet in 2012, HBCU bachelor degree recipients borrowed nearly twice the amount as their non-HBCU peers. Basically, HBCU students are taking out much more debt to attend less expensive schools than other students. But that hasn't limited the success of HBCUs. Even though they disproportionately enroll low-income, first-generation, and academically unprepared students, HBCUs are unique in their ability to graduate low-income kids. And that's why some have anxiety about these schools' ongoing financial struggles. Historically, HBCUs have been underfunded. Add that to the fact that the size of their endowments is 1/8 the size of historically white colleges and universities. For example, Southern University has $13 million in endowments. Compare that with the $500 million LSU has, a predominantly white university just 11 miles away. Louisiana used to give Southern 60% of the school's funding, and now that's dropped to 20% because the state spent the last decade slashing funding to higher education. Southern University Vice Chancellor Michael Stubblefield suggests these schools need to target a wider audience and evolve their business plans.
I believe the HBCUs not necessarily should just focus on African Americans. If we're saying we're about global excellence, that means we're about global engagement. Because at the end of the day, if we can define ourselves not just about being about one particular population, I think we win.
HBCUs aren't just competing against one another for black students, they're also competing against predominantly white institutions, or PWIs. Southern University has seen a decrease in enrollment. Meanwhile, LSU's black enrollment rate has increased from nearly 9% in 2007 to almost 12% in the 2015-2016 school year. So if HBCUs like Southern University are going to succeed, some officials say they need a better marketing plan. And all you have to do to understand what they mean is look around. LSU paraphernalia is prominently displayed everywhere. Southern University, not so much.
One of the things we can say, at least on the marketing side, we have to market those programs that we believe can attract people where they know they can have a job at the end of the day.
So in such a competitive market for students, what is the future of HBCUs?
We just spent all day telling you about HBCUs, their history, their legacy, what's next. Let us know what you want us to cover next, what you think of HBCUs, and watch me dance out of this frame like